the bone middens of Comorra, a veritable wasteland of ruins and filth. It is akin to the underhive of the great metropolises of the Imperium, though the dregs of Comorra make the gangers of Necromunda look like upstanding, productive citizens by comparison. Cabals who have fallen from power often slink to the Middens to lick their wounds and recover. Horrid abominations, rejected homunculi test subjects roam the shadows. The lowest of the low Drukhari end up here, starving for souls, as do a myriad of other Xenos races that have somehow escaped captivity. They live here as well, if it could be called living. It was into this pit that Warboss Gitslaya and the remainder of his boys ended up after fleeing deviant debaucheries through their garbage chute. The orcs then found themselves surrounded by dozens of gleaming eyes in the darkness. Poodle, the attack squig, leapt from Gitslaya's shoulder and snarled at the approaching creatures. The eyes seemed to back away a little, as if assessing the danger the orcs posed to them. Poodle seized on the hesitation and snapped at the dark shapes. There was a cry of pain as the attack squig pulled the mysterious creature into the light of Crumpa's lumen stick. It was an orc. Orcs were not uncommon to Comorra. Numerous raids have been executed in order to bring back the brutish creatures for the witch cult gladiatorial battles. Other times, orc wars accidentally found their way to the Dark City. Or, more likely, they were manipulated into plowing into a rival Archon's territory. Regardless, orc spores have found some purchase in the various poorer districts, sewer systems, and other dank areas of Comorra. However, these orcs have never been a major threat, because there are so many other vicious, horrifying monstrosities that live in these areas that orcs have not been able to gain the numbers they need to even start the simplest, lowest of tribes. So, when Gitslaya looked down at the orc Poodle had dragged into the light, it was a pretty sad-looking orc. Its green skin was pale and almost yellowish. It was small and runty, and not much bigger than a humie. It was armed with little more than a sharp piece of scrap, and wore nothing but a few rags and a loincloth. The orc yelled in pain as Poodle shook him gleefully.
"Oh, he likes ya!"
Gitslaya smiled and grabbed the lumen stick from Crumpa.
"Gimme that!"
The warboss moved with the light towards the other shining eyes, and saw that the other orcs were in roughly the same sorry state as this one. Some were missing eyes, others were missing limbs that had either been replaced by hooks or crude pegs.
"You lot look like the saddest bunch of freebooters I ever saw."
The small, sickly orcs cringed away from the boisterous warboss.
"What the zog is wrong with you lot? Ain't you orcs? Where's your boss?"
An orc stepped forward who looked a bit bigger than the others. He was still smaller than any of the boys Gitslaya had in his mob.
Zog, this is sad."
Gitslaya took one step off the trash pile, and he heard a hissing in the dark. He gave his bionic eye a good whack to get it working again, and his heat vision sputtered back to functionality. The orc warboss saw a wicked creature running on many legs. It was some sort of abomination of flesh. Different limbs from many different creatures had been melded together to form a centipede-like monstrosity that reared itself up. 3 faces that might have been human or Eldar seemed to be melted together into one bulbous head, with 3 enormous spikes emerging from their mouths. The lesser orcs cowered before the creature and tried to flee.
"You lot is the worst! Get your blood up, boys, It's time to learn how to war.
The creature towered head and shoulders above the massive war boss. Its body length was at least 3 times his height. The many grasping arms of the creature tried to pull Gitslaya towards its venomous pincers emerging from the creature's twisted faces. But the war boss tore away from them, bashing away the grabby bits with his big, empty shooter. The creature pushed forward, throwing its entire weight on top of the huge orc. Gitslaya stumbled back a bit, but he planted his boots and held his ground. Poodle left the orc he had been playing with and chomped down on the creature's back end. The abomination screeched and turned towards Poodle, preparing to lunge forward with its dripping pincers. The war boss seized his opportunity, and with a swipe of his massive power claw, Gitslaya neatly chopped the head clean off the horrid thing. The many arms and legs of the creature flailed as it thrashed about, spraying strange black ichor everywhere. The ichor hissed and steamed, eating away at anything it touched. Gitslaya was spattered a bit, but the acid didn't seem to harm the hearty orc too much, leaving minor burns across his arm and a bit of pocking on his great claw. After dispatching the creature, the war boss turned back to the rather pathetic orcs.
Listen, I'm getting out of Komara, and I need every boy I can get if I'm gonna make that push. You's the saddest lot I've ever met. But you can bet a forearm through, Mister, I'll make a orc out of you.
Poodle happily trotted back to Warboss Gitslaya and scrambled awkwardly back onto his shoulder. The great orc began scratching his head, trying to think of his next step. Very quickly he gave up.
Look, let's just smash stuff and build a war. We keep fighting till a smart boy pops out the ground, and then he can do all that stupid thinking stuff. Come on, lads. We got a lot of work to do. War!